Welcome to Ask the Animals Productions, where we look at nature without the baggage of evolution. As Christian parents and teachers, we want only the best programs for our children to watch. Nature programs today have a lot of really interesting animals to learn about, but most of what we see has an agenda to indoctrinate our children on the theory of evolution. In our programs, we want to present the exciting science of animal behavior and reflect upon the God who made all things well and called it good from the beginning. Right now, we will show you a sample chapter from our DVD, Little Known Miracles of God's Creation, for kids. This program focuses on some of the rarer animals of the world. Those animals we don't see much on regular nature programs, tucked away in special habitats around the world, and even some you may be able to find in your own backyard. Come with us now as we discover these special creatures. This kids program was reworded from Matthew Prevy's adult program so children can understand the same concepts and ideas. To order the full program and its many animals that testify to the Creator God of the Bible, go to our website ask-the-animals.com to order the DVD Little Known Miracles of God's Creation for kids. Be sure to get the kids version.
One of the most exciting animals to find in nature is the salamander. Turn over rocks and logs in a wet forest or rocky streams, and you may find one of these special hidden creatures. A lot of them are gray or brown, but sometimes you can find some really cool, colorful ones. They come in so many colors and beautiful patterns. Salamanders are classified as amphibians. This means salamanders are cousins of the frogs and toads. Even though salamanders look like lizards, they are not lizards. Their life starts as a small egg laid in a dark, wet place. Some mother salamanders will guard their clutch of eggs, and others let them fend for themselves. These eggs will soon hatch into a larva that swims underwater. The larvae, unlike tadpoles, already have 4 legs fully developed. To live underwater, they use feathery gills behind their head to breathe. They stay in the water for their entire childhood, catching tiny insects and water animals, growing larger until they can change into adults. At this point, they lose their gills. Their breathing changes from water to air breathing, which is not a simple change. Living in central Mexico, the axolotl is a salamander that never changes to an adult form. Axolotls never lose their gills because they will never leave the water their entire life. In the albino form, pictured here, the bright red gills strongly stand out. But most salamanders leave the water when they become adults. This is a mole salamander. The adult mole salamander will live most of their lives under the ground like a mole. Because of this, they are very hard to find. It took me many years to find this spotted salamander. Mole salamanders can get fairly large and brightly colored, such as these tiger salamanders. The lungless salamanders are the most widespread and numerous group. They actually have no lungs at all. Instead, they breathe air or oxygen through their wet skin. This is why salamanders must stay moist or wet at all times. If they dry out, they can't breathe. So, if you find a salamander, be very careful not to let him get dried out, or he will die. And make sure you put him back in his moist home where you found him. Lungless salamanders include the smallest salamander in America, the pygmy salamander of the high Appalachian Mountains. Full size is no bigger than a millipede. Compare this to the largest, the giant salamander of Japan and China. They can grow to 6 feet long. Here is one next to a hand. They can also live up to 60 years in the rivers of their mountain homes. Newts are somewhat different. They breathe with lungs like you and I do. Unlike the wet skin of the other salamanders, newts have dry skin and can stay out in much drier conditions. They are brightly colored to tell predators that they have poison in their skin and taste bad. With little fear of being eaten, they are often found fearlessly stomping about in the open forest or marching up mountains. This makes them easier to find than other salamanders. Some salamanders live in spots that most animals can't go. While exploring a cave in Tennessee where a stream flowed through, we found many of these bright orange cave salamanders living in the wet, cold darkness. This salamander lives near the surface, sometimes coming out of their caves at night. But some salamanders never see the outside light, living their entire lives in total darkness. These are blind albinos, as eyesight and colors are useless in the dark where they live. So salamanders show us as much variety in colors and patterns as any group of animals we could look at. Sometimes it seems that God gives His greatest gifts to the least likely animals. Slow-moving, silent, and fragile, salamanders are a fascinating group that display how special the miracles of God's creation can be.